to order public hearing the regular commission meeting to order. Start with Pledge of Allegiance.
To the flag.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, Mary.
Commissioner Wilkinson?
Here.
Commissioner Desjardins?
Here.
Commissioner Bird?
Here.
Commissioner Prunick?
Here.
Mayor Barry?
Here. Okay. Item B, public hearing for proposed changes to the Munising's Public Peace and Good Order Ordinance number 12. Is there any public comments regarding this? Okay, hearing none. Any commissioner comments?
Yes. You want to go first? or-
No, I have none.
Okay, all right. I wrote something so that way it'd be under 4 minutes, so that way it's time limit. So, I really felt that even though that we've got a review here that says that this is about constitutionality, our city attorney specifically said that if we needed to talk about anything else that was relevant to this ordinance, then we needed to discuss it, and we absolutely did not discuss it. I know that I brought up the definition of working papers left in the wind after AG Nestle's opinion regarding pandemic stay-at-home measures. But talking with other people in the community, with residents and stakeholders, there's a lot more that I did not realize either. Some of those include impacts of fishing past curfew that is protected by state law and tribal treaties, exceptions listed for First Amendment protections, but not for Second Amendment self-defense, honor guards, or even carnival games that might use a BB gun, or that the elimination of the curfew could strengthen the unique local history of the 9 p.m. siren. These same people looked at the ordinance, asked questions, checked other publicly available documents, and legitimately wanted to make our community stronger and up to date, while we did not do that. This ordinance is just a couple of years younger than 40% of the commission. It does not matter who was elected when it passed or what solutions it solved at the time. Changes from Lansing, Washington, D.C., or just down the street with other local level governments have decayed this ordinance from a helpful tool to administrative blight that quite literally undermines the Home Rule Act that establishes Munising as a city. To express just how problematic it is to have this ordinance remain, Section 2F says that schools have some extra undefined protections, but never actually defines a school. Since '92, when this ordinance came about, there have been multiple state and federal laws, Supreme Court cases, AG opinions, as well as agreements with MHSAA and NFHS that all use various definitions for schools, but the most damning is for Munising Public Schools itself, which massively expanded its school handbook in the last 5 years, more than quadrupling it in size and giving unchecked power to the administration. Since then, there have been numerous issues, including multiple investigations and charges being brought to state and federal departments of education, with additional JDOE civil suits against the school, including the involvement of our own police agency. The worst scenario is when a parent FOIA'd emails proving that Superintendent Mike Travis abused the Truancy Task Force to out witnesses in an ongoing investigation into an alleged victim-based crime. Munising Police Department officials are on that task force, and further allegations of retaliating drug tests, illegal searches of vehicle, and other invasions of privacy against the student for the actions of the parent performed by an MPD officer serving as a school resource officer leads to this overlap between this ordinance and the school's definition of what a school is. To be fair to this body, the FOIA was presented while the City Commission was in its own regular meeting. On the same day, the County Commission voted 2-2 to not fund the Munising Marketplace, and office management blocked the story from running the Munising Beacon, so I get why we wouldn't know about it, but it still does not excuse the fact that our ordinance does not define a school, allowing an overzealous superintendent to literally use taxpayer dollars to expose witnesses in criminal investigations, clog up our probate court system, and turn our most senior police officer into a thug where we can't tell what investigations he is conducting, not on behalf of us, but on behalf of the school. Our inability to strengthen definitions and adapt to new situations is a pretentious disregard of bad people who actively use our policies to harm others for personal gain and the degradation of parental and individual rights. Ultimately, former City Manager Olson's disclosure that this ordinance has not been enforced by the city at all, with the exception of the 2 parts we are amending today, and that former City Attorney Ferguson never reviewed ordinances for relevant changes, proves that it is more harmful than helpful to have ordinances like this on the books. It is shameful that we as a commission so easily dismiss the idea that something 33 years old was still spotless as the day it was accepted, and blocking meaningful discussion was a direct undermining of the power created in the Home Rule Act for cities like us. While I will vote yes in the common sense fix tonight, I still plead for this entire ordinance to be repealed and replaced with something else so that this municipality will destroy what is, at best, a liability to taxpayers and an active threat to the civil liberties of people who live, work, and visit Munising.
Thank you, Bruce. Anybody else have any comments?
I do. You say that it has not been enforced in 33 years. It has not been invoked because it has not been necessary. Section 4 of the ordinance says, if any section, subsection, sentence, clause, phrase, or portion of this ordinance is for any reason held invalid or unconstitutional by any court of competent jurisdiction, such portion shall be deemed a separate, distinct, and independent provision, and such holding shall not affect the validity of the remaining portion. We have never had to call this ordinance up and invoke it in 33 years it's been on the books. Hasn't been necessary. And it was at your initiative that we reviewed it and had the city attorney review it for whatever reason. And we did. And the city attorney rendered his opinion. And he has proposed the amendment that is before us this evening. And I think we should vote on it and dispose of this matter.
That's not accurate. Well, yes, it
What's
is
not
accurate. The fact that you are blatantly ignoring that in the written opinion, it says that he wanted us to review. Anything else that we wanted to talk about this was up to the purview of the commission to talk about. And when looking at the meeting, when we voted on this, how it went down, according to the tape, and you're welcome to watch it on our YouTube page, you said, Commissioner Desjardins, that it's a lot of work to open up and look at an ordinance again. And you've worked on a lot of ordinances in the past. And I said, I had too. And I was about to say that I still think it's relevant for us to open up this issue and have discussion, or at least meaningful discussion, about what we do it. And instead I got cut off by Mayor Barrett.
I said that creating an ordinance from scratch is a lot of work, and you can quote me on that.
I think the bigger point is that we didn't actually discuss whether or not we wanted to review anything. It was just very
Do you have a
quick.
proposed course of action?
Was not allowed to bring it up.
You were not allowed to bring it
Not if
up.
I'm gonna get cut off. Not if I'm gonna say like, hey, like, you know, we should be listening to other people. We could do things like a policy that reviews old ordinances for a while. We, you know, to see if they're constitutional. We can see if there's some things that have changed based on other documentation. We also, based on other overlapping issues, we don't have a way to tell any of the other law enforcement agencies in Munising what happens with this peace and public ordinance offer, because we don't tell them.
Because it's
So-
never been invoked.
Well, and one thing I did mention to you is that, you know, to start looking at possibly an ad hoc committee or task force or something to start looking at these ordinances that, and we've not moved forward with that at all either. So, at this point,
Can you clarify that last part for me? Or just say it one more time.
that we talked about possibly forming a task force or an ad hoc committee to start looking at policies and the ordinances. Other bodies of government do that, and, you know, and then bring them back to the commission, but that's never happened. So this is where we're at on this one, and unless there are any other comments, I would recommend to adjourn the public hearing.
I'll make a motion, we adjourn the public hearing.
Now, support.
Okay, moved by Commissioner Birch, supported by Commissioner Justardens to close or adjourn the public hearing. Any more discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion's carried.
I move we approve the amendment as submitted.
I'll second.
Moved by Commissioner Justardens, seconded by Commissioner Wilkinson to approve the amended ordinance number 12 as presented. Any more discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. Item D, public hearing for an amendment to the zoning ordinance and amend Article 2, Section 226 as follows, to add multifamily dwelling as special land use, SLU, to the commercial district. Any public comments? Any commissioner comments?
I'll make a motion, we approve the.
Oh, we gotta adjourn it first. If no comments, I entertain a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion.
Support?
Okay, moved by Commissioner Bird, supported by Commissioner Justardens to adjourn this public hearing. Any more discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Okay, there you go, Rob.
Make a motion, we approve the amended Article 2, Section 226 as follows, to add family dwelling as special land use to the commercial district.
I'll support.
Okay, moved by Commissioner Wilkinson, supported by Commissioner Prunick to approve the proposed changes to the zoning ordinance. Any more discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Okay, now we're gonna amend the agenda.
All right, let's do that.
Okay. We're gonna add items 11 and 12 down at the bottom. We have two proposals. Ish. Proposals for two new DPW trucks that
These are two different trucks.
they're two different trucks, but they meet all of our specs.
Okay.
And did we approve something
We just need to
prior?
put it on the agenda so that we can discuss it.
Yeah, okay, but these are brand new. Okay, so we're gonna put, the white, the Summit White truck as item 11, and the Sterling Metal as item 12, okay?
And-
Do I need a motion for that?
To amend the agenda, yes. Do you have another amendment?
Just, oh, yes, I'm sorry. Actually, we'll put you guys up close to the top.
Yes, please.
We'll put you right after, we'll call it 1A, so the housing needs assessment. So, thank you.
You're welcome.
All right.
Did you want a 5A?
I thought we could just kind of roll that all into the number 5. So, all right.
I would support a 5A in case if we need separate motions.
Okay, all right. We'll do a 5A, and that will be, to, I guess, discuss guidance.
Housing needs assessment?
No, guidance for staff in this interim time period.
Is this a fourth amendment?
This is
Fourth amendment, yes.
fourth amendment, so we've got,
So
we've
the
amended
housing needs assessment is 1A?
1A, this is 5A, and then
Okay.
11 and 12 are
All right.
trucks.
I move we amend the agenda as directed by the mayor.
I'll support.
Okay, moved by Commissioner Justardens, supported by Commissioner Prunick to amend the agenda as presented. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, the agenda is amended. All right, any public comments? 4 minutes. Any-
On anything?
Yep, anything non-agenda related?
Yeah, can I just go through? Sure. Bill Ramsey is my name. I just had a couple of quick questions on the H58 closure. I guess I heard it in the last week that it was gonna, be getting closed. I have 3 hotels down there. And I'm just kind of curious of why they would pick the 2 busiest months out of the year. July and August. Why not April and May? Why not September and October? That's my question of the day. And who made that decision?
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm
Honestly,
assuming it was MDOT.
if it's H58, they,
No, it's a county road.
County road.
Yeah.
so that, so,
Are we at, because we do have the answer for this, I just want to make sure that.
go for it.
Okay, so this project with the bridge is multiple agencies that are going, we're only throwing in a couple of, a very small percentage of this, but this is mostly road commission and MDOT and Altran, I think.
I'm not sure about road commission.
No.
Okay, but there are multiple other agencies, and we are the smallest financial part of that project. And so we have we have almost no aspects of it. This came through as an informational aspect, at a previous meeting. We broke it out from there into from the consent agenda to a new business item. And Devin Olson said that this is mostly spearheaded by agencies that are not us, and they are mostly paying for it and not us. And I think that is really because they were in charge of the plan and not us. That's the reason why it's kind of leading that way.
Right. Just seems that the overall impact to the people up under the Connors Road, I mean, I can go on and on, guys.
The hospital.
Thank you, Ron.
Yeah.
Yeah, and just such, just, you know, not to be derogatory sometimes, and not here, please. Did they put any kind of thought into this thing? You know, there's a lot of people that are here in those 2 months, and I just wonder, and then I understand that maybe that the cemetery hill, is that going on under construction?
They're repurposing it, I guess.
Resurfacing.
Starting when?
July 17th.
17.
So everything's gonna go up M28 to the Connors Road and over, so I just, you know, one last thing, I know that the Connors Road and M28 are out of the city police's area. I would ask you to give them authorization to work way up there as well. You're talking, you know, thousands and thousands of people each and every day now. Semi-trucks, and, yeah, so that's all I had, is that I heard that and I just said, I just have to go and ask.
I appreciate it that you did.
Bryce, you know what, I like your answer. I guess at the very same time, when there's an outside agency still coming in sometimes, you know, that maybe we have to be able to explain to them. This is probably not the very best time.
And just for your information, the Ann Arbor Bridge Rehabilitation Project is item 2 in new business as well. And so if you would like to stay around,
No,
listen to that too.
I'm fine. Chris gave a good answer there, and, you know, thank you very much. And likewise. Yeah, I understand sometimes that the decisions are outside of our control. But, I do scratch my head sometimes. So. And we went through this years ago, Rod, on H58, and always fine. Always fine. But when you talk such a short, you know, window of a construction job, I just asked myself whether they couldn't have started it in April and, you know, tried to be done by the end of, say, May. So that's all I had, guys.
Thanks, Bill.
Thank you so much for all of your time and all your services. Happy 4th of July.
You too.
Thanks,
Okay?
Bill.
Yeah, see you guys. Okay.
Okay, anybody else? Okay. Consent agenda. Anybody have any questions? Did anything pulled off of there?
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I'll support.
Moved by Commissioner Prunick, supported by Commissioner Burge to approve the consent agenda. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? And that motion is carried. New business. Okay, Mr. Peterson, you're up.
Right on it. Too many papers. I'll pick it up.
So thanks for letting me talk about fluoride in our city drinking water. And I'd like to start by saying that I Googled fluoride this morning to see what that said. And let's see, I guess I gotta go with this. Fluoride. Okay, this is real short, just a few sentences. It says, fluoride is a naturally occurring mineral, specifically the ionic form of fluorine, that plays a vital role in preventing tooth decay and strengthening bones. It is commonly found in some water, some foods, and added to many dental products like tooth decay and others. But basically it says it plays a vital role in preventing tooth decay and strengthening bones. And then a couple of lines down, it says, bone health. It says fluoride is incorporated into bones, potentially contributing to their strength and density. So,
Yeah, I'm gonna hurry you along just a little bit. We understand what fluoride is. What were you wanting to discuss?
okay, so I suggest that everybody that I would talk about would agree with topical use of fluoride, but ingesting it is the issue. And I'd like to go to an organization, it's a group of citizens and scientists called the Fluoride Action Network to talk about this. And they've got quite a bit of information about it. And their abbreviation is FAN, F-A-N. And I found that the easiest way to look at this information quickly and not waste a bunch of time is to go, so they've got about a half a dozen different topics, and if you go to key topics, under that there are 2 places to look at. And one is frequently asked questions, and let's go there first. So just quickly looking at those questions, do we need fluoride? And the answer, they say, is no. Our body does not need fluoride.
Who's they?
This Fluoride Action Network.
Are they scientists?
There are scientists there. Yes, and they say, no, we don't. And if you look at this site, you can go to it yourself, and I'm recommending and asking that you do. Does fluoride occur naturally in water? And throughout North America, most of the world, it does occur naturally in water, but generally it's less than 0.1 parts per million. And we're putting in from 7 to 10 times that. And that's what communities do.
So you say it occurs less than 1 part per million, and we're putting it into 7 to 10 parts per million?
Or 7 to 10 times that.
Okay, 7 to 10 times 1 is 7 to 10 parts per million.
Right.
Which,
It's actually 0.7 to 1 part per million.
but that's the higher limit.
Right.
That's the EPA, which that 0.0 or 0.7 is 3 drops of fluoride per 55 gallons of water.
Okay, that's the issue, and let me go on. It says rather than, so under that, does that occur naturally? When it's higher than that, and there are areas which it's significantly higher, it says there are reduced IQ, thyroid diseases, and infertility. So there's significant problems with higher levels than that. And under what water fluoridation is and why it is done, and just a couple quick sentences on that. Water fluoridation is the process of using the public's drinking water as a delivery system to increase the amount of fluoride residents ingest on a daily basis. This is done by adding industrial waste byproducts known as silicofluorides to the water.
Yeah.
And then going down from that, where does the fluoride added to the water come from? The main chemical used to fluoridate drinking water is known as silicofluorides, and I can't pronounce some of the words after that, but silicofluorides are not pharmaceutical grade fluoride products, like goes into toothpaste, for instance. And there's a warning on your toothpaste, not to ingest it, not to swallow it. Yep. But they're unprocessed industrial byproducts of the phosphate fertilizer industry.
I am going to kind of stop you right here because we adhere to the state standards of fluoride, and we're not going to solve anything here tonight. There's not going to be any action taken.
Right.
So appreciate you coming in and apprising us, but at this point we are just going to be staying the course. In order to change it, there are hoops, I believe, that would have to be gone through, studies, public hearings, various things. So But I do appreciate you coming in.
Okay, have I had my 10 minutes?
There's no requirement of time.
Okay,
So-
can I finish, please?
We pretty much know, because you've said this a lot. I mean, we've heard this.
Do you mind if I jump in?
Huh?
Do you mind if I jump in?
Yeah.
Okay, so there's a couple of things here, because we also got this statement, the memorandum about fluoridization from Eagle, as well as Department of Health and Human Services from the state of Michigan. And so we've got this one, and I understand that Fluoride Action Network is a more legitimate special action group than some other ones that I've seen in my past, but it's still a special action group. And so we've got two separate sets of information here. But one thing that we do not have that might be relevant to some of the things that are going on recently is I don't know what happens if we have in our water testing, if our water testing is being sent down and that's for, over fluoridization is something that is included in our state required water testing when we get the results back, or if that's something where we go, oops, we added more.
We do it every day.
Okay, so we have that, and we have a way to fix that if it's too much, if it reaches the toxic or even above approved levels, we have a way to bring that back down in a normal sense.
Yes.
And that is policy, it's not just a random happenstance or just kind of wiggle room it, like you guys actually have it as part of training or something like that?
Yes.
Okay, all right, so something like that helps out right off the bat, because you're talking about overdoing it, and the risks of overdoing it. Then to have policies in place that would fix it before it goes out for human consumption is something that is helpful, at least in explaining some of this kind of stuff. I will say, from the memorandum, Michigan has 100% compliance with the fluoride MCL in the last 10 years. Doesn't mean a hill of beans, because it's your own law, it's your own rule. I mean, it's like, well, I followed my own rule of walk into the meeting today and got there in time, and it doesn't mean anything.
Well, the EPA sets the danger limit at the MCL
Right.
at 4 parts.
Right, but that goes to the other part of this letter. So it says, a few days ago, I saw a truck near my house talking about testing pipes. A lot of information about the Flint water crisis and a lot of the laws that have come through after the Flint water crisis talked about how chemical additives and changing of the water source dealing with the acidity led to the degradation of the pipes. When dealing with fluoride, and we're dealing with the pipes that we have, and the pipes that have to be the standard use, there's no possible way with the acidity and base levels and the pH balancing of fluoride that it could degrade the pipes in any way that would cause a further health crisis that we would not be prepared for.
None of the levels we feed.
That is, sometimes we just need to hear it out loud. So,
Okay, I just don't want to sit on it quite yet, if I may. And could I bring up the court case of the Fluoride Alert Network against the EPA?
Well,
Do
this
you
is
know
not a
about-
debate.
Do you know about that? That's real important.
Are you a scientist, Bruce?
No, I'm not a scientist.
Are you a chemical engineer?
No.
Have you got any primary investigative evidence? You undermine your own argument with your opening statement. If you look at fluoride in drinking water, most articles will tell you it's safe. However, one organization, is saying it's not safe. I can find on the Google machine an argument to support, or evidence to support any argument I make on any subject. And unless you have empirical scientific evidence to produce, it's just your opinion reinforced by your Google research.
Okay, but it's not, because there was a court case, actually 2 cases, against the Environmental Protection Agency, and that was settled about 6 months ago, against putting fluoride in our drinking water. Have you looked at that?
Did you bring that evidence?
I can.
I'm not going to research fluoride anymore. I've had this conversation 25 years ago when we threatened to take fluoride out of our water, and every dentist in the county stood up there and said, don't do that, don't do that. And so we didn't do that.
Okay, but if you look at, just look at fluoridealert.org, and that's all I'll say.
Thank you, Bruce.
Well, I do have, and I have a study here also, and it's from the CDC, that does say fluoridating water slashes kids' cavity rates 50 to 70%, and 20 to 40% in adults. They go on to explain government stuff. But it also says in 2023, that 68.5 million Americans lack dental. Right. I understand there's fluoride in toothpaste, but what bothers me is that we're not getting the amount of fluoride in the toothpaste that we have to get to keep our kids and to keep our adults as much cavity free as we can get. I don't think the amount of fluoride in our water is that detrimental to us, according to CDC.
Thank you, Bob.
You said differently.
Okay, we're gonna move on.
Let me speak.
Yep. All right. Item 1A, housing needs assessment.
I've got handouts. These are the first few pages of the report. The report itself is 70+ pages, so we'll send that digitally. But this is our executive summary, and then this is just the slides we'll be going over today. That's just an overview.
Excuse me.
Great, thank you.
I've seen it.
I was gonna say, I'm pretty sure you've sat through this presentation
Are we
before.
to the final version?
Unless you have any additional edits.
I saw the draft about 4 or 5 months ago.
Yeah, the most recent draft was from March.
We're not closing it yet. We have additional edits to anything we discover tonight. So, I'm Ryan Susi, Senior Planner at QPAD. I'm joined with Jessica
No
Walter.
signal.
If there's nothing plugged in.
Oh,
Not yet.
I just already kicked Brian out while he was talking.
And I'm joined with Jessica Walter, also a planner at QPAD. I want to thank you for being flexible with us and allowing us into your schedule tonight. I also want to commend you on expanding your housing options here in Munising. I think that's very important for solving the housing crisis in the region. So we've been working on a comprehensive master plan update, housing needs assessment, and zoning ordinance update since about August of last year. We're expecting to wrap up in July 2026. And Jessica has been taking the lead on the housing needs assessment. I've been taking the lead on the master plan part. Both of these documents are interconnected and will eventually result in zoning ordinance amendments. And so I guess I'll hand it over to you, Jessica, so you can talk about the housing needs assessment.
All right. I know some of you have already kind of sat through a presentation of this. Rod was good enough to be part of our focus groups we held, so, and I know that we're a recent addition. So I'm gonna kind of go through some of this earlier part sort of faster, which is just the overview of like what a housing assessment is, which Ryan really just summarized there really well, what we're gonna be using this for. But you have that in the slides. Just a really quick overview of our methodology for doing this, for those of you who haven't been part of the process before. We did a mixed methods approach, combining quantitative data from the US Census and American Community Survey, housing sales data pulled from MLS databases, and then other regional demographic trends, as well as more direct community engagement. We held 4 focus groups for the total of 17 participants, as well as a couple of additional interviews with folks who couldn't make the focus groups. And then the folks on those panels ranged from real estate professionals, employers, service providers, city commission members. So tried to reach a really broad spectrum of individuals who have different perspectives on the housing market. The key findings, which are also highlighted in that executive summary that you guys have, and there's more of them, but I think these four are kind of the biggest takeaways in my opinion. 54% of housing was built before 1960 in Munising, which can indicate some significant aging infrastructure and may explain some other trends we'll talk about later, which is sort of reductions in housing units we've seen over time as opposed to new building trends. Following that up, there is, at least according to ACS data, no new construction of housing units since 2019, which suggests there may be some development barriers. 24% of households, according to ACS estimates, are considered cost burden. And just to explain that terminology for anybody who might be unfamiliar, cost burden means any household spending more than 30% of their income on housing costs. And then finally, almost 23% of all housing units in Munising are either vacant or seasonal units. Basically, that's anything from second homes, for sale, or anything not used as a full-time residence.
That includes snowbirds?
Yep.
Yeah.
That seems to be from the data the biggest demographic there because there's not a lot for sale in Munising. So the biggest demographic, so almost a quarter, and that is like significantly higher than it is in most other communities. So those are some big takeaways. We looked at some population trends around Munising. One thing that came up across our focus groups was that a lot of households can't afford to stay here. I have a quote down there from one of our focus group attendees. A lot of households can't afford to stay here. A lot of folks are moving to Christmas, all train or retiring. And then this year is some population graphs, which really highlights that trend. Whereas the city of Munising's population has gone down since 1970, we see the surrounding townships' population rising, which is not an uncommon trend amongst cities. And then looked at some different household characteristics. Nearly half of all households in Munising, 44%, consist of just one single person, which is pretty significant, and it suggests a need for more diverse housing units. The vast majority of housing available in Munising are single-family homes, which doesn't necessarily meet the need of like elderly folks who live alone, or people who work in the service economy and maybe don't need, a 3-bedroom house yet. Only about a quarter of households include children, reflecting both the city's aging population and the challenges young families are facing in staying in the community. We also see that home ownership rates have declined from 65% in 2000 to 60% in 2022. And we see that as like a growing trend over time in Munising, which is indicating there's some potential barriers to home ownership. And then one of the more striking trends among younger residents, which you can see in this graph, nearly 80% of people under 35 are renters, which is a fairly recent trend, and it suggests that there's really significant affordability barriers for people just starting out. So, kind of digging more into economic context, we're seeing Munising's median household income is around $50,000 a year, which is below county and state levels. When we adjust for inflation, households in Munising have actually 16% less purchasing power than they did in 2000, even though we're seeing housing costs increase by a much more significant rate than that. There's a significant income disparity between homeowners and renters, with homeowners generally having substantially higher incomes, which is not unexpected because people with higher incomes have more accessibility to home ownership. So again, looking at the actual cost of buying a home, that's this graph here. I just realized I didn't put a caption on that. The average sales price of a house just since 2020 has risen from 160 at closing to 212. That with like actual earned income adjusted for inflation.
In the city?
Yep, these are all Munising, City of Munising properties. So on top of that, coupled with that, we see that the city's total housing inventory has decreased. That's the bars in yellow. So these are ACS estimates of total housing units in the city of Munising. So you can see just from 2010, there was an estimate of 1,447 housing units to, in 2022, 1,174. So there's been a decreased stock of housing units with housing costs rising and then an average decline in actual buying power on behalf of Munising residents. Housing sales show strong seasonal patterns as well. We see that these prices peak really high in the summer, which is pretty common in tourist-driven economies. So we see that there's also times where residents have even less, ability to compete in the housing market, which is just something worth noting, I think. And then we also see that there's really noticeable price differences between older and newer homes, with homes built after 2010 selling for nearly 70% more than 1940 homes on average. That's not surprising, but when the majority of the housing stock is older here, that does speak a lot about what is accessible for folks. One thing that came up a lot in the focus groups was like there seems to be two extremes in what's available in the housing market. Housing cost is either very affordable, but it's in need of repair, or it's very high because someone just flipped it. But there's not a lot of in between where it's both livable and affordable. This also came up when we had folks from the actual lending market come in to speak, that it's been hard to get folks mortgages with houses that are actually within their price range because with the amount of work that needs to be done, it's not accessible. So there's a lot of confluencing factors happening in the housing market that's making homeownership difficult for quite a lot of Munising residents, especially younger residents. So with all of that, we came up with about 9 key housing challenges that came out from the focus group, people's lived experiences and professional experiences, as well as from the data. We see that there's a limited housing stock and a lack of diverse options to suit the multitude of different household types in Munising. There's obviously a lot of affordability concerns. There's a significant amount of aging housing stock. The Munising housing market is experiencing some seasonal housing pressure with drastic spikes in when housing is more difficult to acquire. It seems that there's some barriers to new development when you're going, multiple years at a stretch without new housing development, despite there being a demand for housing. That's usually a good indicator that, there might be something on either the zoning or permitting side to be done, which I know you guys are already taking action in. Workforce housing shortage. That came up a lot in the focus groups. A lot of big employers in the area are having trouble retaining or attracting staff with critical shortages for like the prison and the school system and the parks departments. We also see that part of this is coming from a changing household dynamic. So a lot more single individuals as opposed to needing more single family housing, which is the predominant housing type in Munising. So while there's technically a surplus of housing units, not only is most of that taken by second homes, we're also seeing that they don't necessarily suit the needs of folks who are looking for housing currently. And then the final thing that came up often was people were afraid of how addressing this might affect the character of the city. So people don't want to see, Munising putting in big multifamily units. They want it to still feel like a small town. So we put one of those challenges is how to meet those needs while still balancing growth and community character. So one of the new things that for master plans, the housing section is required to include is projected housing needs. So we looked at all of this, and over this next 20-year horizon, our suggestion is to think about 250, we're calling it additional units, but the way that actually breaks out is actually 90 units would be either renovations and tear downs and rebuilds for houses that are significantly aged over the next 20 years. And then the last 160 of that, varying types of new housing unit development. And then the distribution of that we recommend as being 100 for low income, since that seems to be one of the biggest lacking elements in the city. 100 middle income, which would be considered more of like a workforce housing. Education professionals, folks working for, federal forest. And then 50 at market rate, which is pretty high for Munising, so that can help balance out the rest of that for developers. So that seems like a lot, 250 units, right? But that doesn't actually even get Munising back up to, according to the ACS estimates, the number of housing units that were reported here in 2010. So even though that seems like a big ask, that's still below 2010 housing unit levels, and spread over 20 years, considering that 90 of those would be redevelopments, that's only 8 units a year, which in just regular city development, that's really not a lot. So I just wanted to add that there, that number seems really high on its face, but it's actually very conservative and pretty manageable, especially if, and that's the final bullet point, we focus on missing middle housing types, which is when you might convert like a large single-family home into a duplex or triplex, or expanding zoning to allow for like ADUs or smaller homes and backyards, focusing on infill, which fits community characteristics without, having to build large new developments. And part of the reason for suggesting that, and I'm going to point out another quote that we had that came out of the focus groups, is because building apartment buildings is also really challenging in communities like Munising, unfortunately, because it's hard to get developers to come in to smaller communities and using commercial loans, because to make it pay, they have to, charge around $2,500 a month for rent, and that's not really market rate here in a community like Munising. So focusing on these missing middle housing types can be far more realistic and easier for folks to make happen. Okay, so the next thing we did was start thinking about some strategic opportunities to take that and turn it into something actionable. So some of these range from actions the city can take immediately to longer term initiatives that would require partnerships and working with the outside community. Some opportunities can be implemented relatively quickly. Things like reviewing zoning ordinances to allow more housing types, which you guys literally just did at the beginning of this meeting, or working more closely with your existing housing commission. Others would involve developing partnerships with state agencies, major employers, or nonprofit organizations to access funding and expertise. The recommendations here include both immediate steps that can build momentum and longer-term strategies that can have more significant impact. I'm not going to jump into them too much in depth because in the executive summary, they're kind of listed out a little bit more. And again, we'll make sure that those who haven't had a chance to see the full document have access to it to read through it. I'm also not going to spend a ton of time on the case studies, just because, again, I know we weren't an expected addition, and it's a nice thing to throw in, but it's maybe not super relevant for what you guys need to know. But I will just say that the 3 communities that are mentioned in there, and that you guys will be able to see in the full document, have all used the different types of recommendations we've used with success, and they are all similarly tourist-driven economies in small towns. So just some good evidence that these sorts of things can be surmountable. And we've got some implementation priorities. So reviewing zoning codes to remove barriers, exploring expanded partnerships with existing housing commission. In a more medium time frame, you could complete an inventory of available properties. It does seem like with the amount of sort of changing housing unit landscape, it might be good to identify vacant lots and, help partner with developers to figure out what would be, good ideas for development. I know that there's been other projects that have been frustrating to try and get to happen. And then longer term initiatives like developing housing trust funds or comprehensive rehabilitation programs. So that's just some short-term ideas there. And then I'm just going to wrap up a little quick. again, because I know we were an unexpected addition. So, if you guys have any questions?
I have some suggestions for MISTA and
Yeah.
for the MEDC. They need to invest more. One of the limiting factors we have in redeveloping existing city properties is most of them are built on 33-foot wide lots. And in order to build new in the city of Munising, there is very necessary zoning, you need a 50-foot wide lot. So you either have to acquire the lot next door, or you can't rebuild on that lot, so you need to rehabilitate what is there, and MISTA needs to provide some funding. I had this conversation with Amy Hovey 2 weeks ago, or 2 months ago at the BMCC. They need to provide some funding
Yeah.
for rehabilitating scattered site substandard housing
Yeah.
for small communities, especially in the UP, which has all this aging. Ishpeming and Nagani are probably the worst. They have that
Yeah.
aging mining stock that just is going to be blighted until it falls down.
Right.
And the MEDC needs to get more active in funding workforce housing because it's constricting economic development.
Yeah.
And anyway, this is very good work, Jessica. This is very good work.
And I will say to your point there, because that was a big thing that we talk about in the actual housing needs assessment document, that the 33-foot lot issue. And Ryan can speak to this way more intelligently than me, because Ryan is far more the zoning aficionado than I am. But one thing we did suggest in there were there are some solutions around with like the ideas of things like form-based zoning or other
ADUs.
yeah, things that do away with the idea of setbacks so long as there's other things, and I know that that can be a hot button issue, but hopefully there are some strategies that can come out of the mix that help you guys deal with that, because I know that did come up quite a bit as a big constraint for redevelopment, and that when a house gets torn down with the expectation of doing rehabilitation, you can't do anything with it
Right.
because of existing lot requirements.
Or you can have a house that's 16 feet wide.
Right, the old shotgun,
Yeah.
Building style.
Slap trigger house.
And I'm sorry, Jessica, if I offer you to speak about Ishpeming, but you've done something really remarkable with Ishpeming on another grant program we're working on, the Housing Readiness Program. She's doing a parcel inventory and analysis, which gathers a lot of data and selects high priority sites for development within the community. So it looks at a range of factors. I'll let you explain it if you're comfortable sharing.
Yeah, we used like tax assessor data for things that are coded as vacant or underdeveloped, what it's classed as, what it's zoned as, and what it's actually valued at, and like its tax cap, to sort of run some calculations on what vacant lots could be rezoned, and we also included some environmental constraints to take out things that are it's Ishpeming, so some lots are vertical.
It's a very vertical.
But yeah, we've been using that to create a sort of toolkit with like toggleable fields so that you can sort of zoom in on ideal layers for different development types. So whether that's with working with developers to try and highlight areas, or sort of pre-approved like PUDs for different sites, things like that. I was not prepared to talk about it, so I'm just like, oh.
Yeah, good. We believe it's a scalable idea.
Anybody else?
Yeah, I have a lot, actually. I think the first one is what do you guys plan on staying included in helping out? And what do you see your guys' role in on this as we continue to roll out this project?
Point that right back at Ryan.
Well, we're working with the planning commission right now and translating it to the master plan, so I'm updating all of the sections of the master plan, but our primary focus is on housing. So I think, with Jessica working with me, we can kind of take it hand in hand and maybe do a public presentation that's a little bit more digestible and at the level that the public would get engaged with it. I think we could do a little bit of public participation and engagement with the public during that meeting and gather their ideas about it and feedback.
Okay. Ultimately, I don't think that what you're asking is enough. I think that 250 housing units in 10 years fits more of what this community needs. And I don't think that's feasible just because of, you're talking about barriers to access, or building. It's gonna take a while before we get the zoning changes done. It's gonna take a while, like, I still blame the parking ordinance for a lot of the reasons why we can't get ADUs or multi-dwelling homes. You know, that's why I think the changes that we made today was so good, is because now we've added special land use to the most parking lot-able zone. Sorry for the butchering of that syntax there, but like, we finally allowed multi-dwelling homes in a place where you can build parking lots comfortably.
Yeah.
You know, so as that comes along, you know, some of it's going to change, but the municipal marketplace stuff, you could just zone that out specifically for MDOC, and they're still not going to be at safe staffing levels. You're not going to be able to get everything else. And so I guess the other question I have is, how long do you think this is doable as a plan? You're talking 20 years, but ultimately, we're in a seasonal economy.
Mhm.
Everybody at this point, they're working 4 times as faster as our governments do, just because we work annually.
Yeah.
We have that capability, it's comfortable, that's not what the free market's doing here. And so if they're moving 4 times faster than what we are, how long lasting do you think something like this is reasonable to keep applying? Because I don't think 20 years is reasonable to think that things are gonna be.
Oh, yeah, like how often should you guys have to revisit the housing needs assessment like this to keep it actionable?
Yeah,
I mean, yeah, I don't want to turn this into a sales pitch, but I do think pretty regularly, I mean, even from the time we did this to now,
We update our master plan every 5 years.
I was just gonna
Okay.
say, so with master plans, we project out 20 years, but we are required by law to update them every 5 years. So we're constantly projecting out 20 years, but revising it every 5.
okay. And my last question, just to keep things timely, because I know that you guys are here, you know, last second. The city's the city, the area is the area. How accurate can this be translated to our neighboring municipalities that are part of the greater Munising area? Like, if we were to hand this off to Munising Township that has more people, more land, different zoning, and say, hey, we know that Timber Products could take on another 250 employees. We know that the mill in town can take on another 200 employees. Like, can this be brought to other groups to maybe speed things up and they take on 20 houses, Audrain takes on 20, and so on, so that way the overall area has a benefit?
Yeah, I think those are kind of, and Ryan, if you want to jump in, by all means, but I think those are kind of 2 separate things in my mind, right? Like, I think there needs to be regional collaboration, because most people don't view themselves when they live in an area as like, I live in the city of Munising and I have nothing to do with Munising Township. You know, people have Munising in their address, and a lot of times that's like as far as they think of that distinction. So I do think regional collaboration is really important in taking some of these issues. Like, a lot of it, people work in Munising but live outside of it, right? Like, a lot of this is applicable to folks outside of Munising, so absolutely, yes, it should be used to work with neighboring townships, but in terms of this being designed to talk about housing available in the city limits, and as far as how it impacts things like people being able to live in a walkable downtown area, people being able to stay within X amount of their community they've always been a part of, the tax base for the city, things like that. I think it's important to start taking housing action that is also focused hyper-specifically on Munising for your guys' like tax basis purposes, and yeah, that's, so they're yes and, right?
Totally fair.
Yeah, so that's kind of a cop-out answer,
Not really.
but okay.
Yeah.
Well, I was, because, yeah, I mean, it goes along just with what you're saying, you know, the boundaries are blurred.
Yeah.
And so, just because we're in one area, the plan can be transferable, so.
Yeah, and it should be, but like I said, it's also important too to be like, you know, we don't want all the buildings to go to, you know, the townships and leave Munising in the same position, you know, where people don't, they only recreate and visit here, they don't like live here.
The DNI requires our recreation master plan to be compatible and prepared in cooperation with our surrounding townships for obvious reasons, and housing should be too.
Mhm.
And zoning has to be compatible where the boundaries are.
Yeah, right, that's why we have to send out.
But you're
all
also
those-
talking quite a different demographic from here to there to there to there. So a lot of this, the housing assessment, you're gonna have to redo it for Munising Township or Christmas or Shingleton or Tenary or whatever, because what we just saw, what you just gave us for Munising, isn't applicable to some of these other places. So to have, you know, to Rod's point, yeah, it'd be nice if we had, you know, zoning that would be, you know, compatible, but the demographics and the needs are different.
Yeah,
So it's difficult to come up with a plan that would be comparable.
right, you'd have to almost do like a region-wide plan to have it be super specific to everywhere, but, you know, for whatever can be translatable, I think it's worth partnering however you can.
Well, thank you, you guys, appreciate you coming out and
Thanks,
let
Rod.
us
This is
work
good
out.
work, Jessica.
It's very informative. It's all rolled into economic development and like,
Should I have turned something off? Okay, I was like, was that?
Before we officially leave that item, can I just make a recommendation that we include more discussion between us and the housing needs, regarding the housing needs assessment for next meeting? I think it'd be relevant to continue talking about this. And what is reasonable and setting a timeline.
Sure, yep. So add it to the next agenda. You'll just add that in, Mary?
I got it.
Perfect.
And, Chris, we can send you, I don't know if you can send it out to the group, we can send you like the actual full document for anybody that hasn't had it.
All right, item number 2, amendment number 3 for H58 over the Annie River Bridge rehabilitation, $55,600 increase. I don't know much, Devin didn't really supply it, I believe this is more for the construction engineering?
Yes,
Okay.
it's adding construction engineering.
Yep.
And one thing about the Annie River Bridge, MDOT is involved because it is a bridge. And so they have a lot to say on the timeline.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Hey, guys,
So,
I don't have any questions.
okay, you ready?
Yeah, I think Mr. Ramsey's comments need to be taken heed here. Because we have a combination of this being way over what we had initially budgeted. We had to be told that it was gonna come in way over previous budget, now it's coming in even higher than what it was the first time.
That's because it's adding construction engineering.
I don't care if it's adding or not, I think a lot of it just comes to the fact that that is a significant amount of an increase. We're talking at 5 times the amount of what it was initially.
That's because it's adding construction engineering, Bryce.
Again, anytime that you're dealing with something that is more than the household income of our municipality, we should probably stop and just double check that for a hot second. Secondly, because of things that Mr. Ramsey brought up that were totally relevant, including the highly controversial H13 and M28 intersection that will be impacted by something in our area, I do think that it'd be important to run some kind of notice on this, that we need either extra road patrol or something at that intersection so somebody doesn't die. That is the most controversial and dangerous intersection in the county. And now we're running an additional detour through it in peak tourism season, ambulance redirects, and we've taken out Cemetery Road just because of double lock. So if we're gonna do this, we need to put some runners on this, so that way we don't either screw Munising Township, screw the people that are traveling, screwing, other people around in other locations, because this is not what was originally signed up for. And I get that we don't have the control, but this is our one shot to say something else, and we need to take it.
I understand the concern about the detour traffic, but it has absolutely nothing to do with the issue that is before us right now, which is a change order in the engineering for professional services contract. And this is a anticipated increase in engineering services from planning and design to construction engineering. So let's focus on this.
Well, I would call for a motion to approve.
I will move that we approve Amendment 3 to the agreement for provision of professional services with UPEA.
I'll second.
Can you authorize someone to sign?
Oh, and authorize. Yes.
It can be me, it's fine.
It can be, and authorize the city treasurer to sign on behalf of the city.
It's been moved by Commissioner Justardens, supported by Commissioner Wilkinson to approve the amendment number 3 to the H58 over the Indian River Bridge rehabilitation at $55,600, and to approve the city treasurer to sign on behalf of the city. Any more discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
Motion carries. Let's see, item number 3, accept Bryce Burgess' resignation from CUPMMPC.
Yeah, there's a lot of letters. Just to give some extra background on this, that is the solid waste and recycling efforts, this multi-county commission that runs through QPAD. They are having significant issues with getting quorum because there's so many people, and the meeting times are not in ways that can reach out. I know that you had problems initially. The other thing too about this is that how a replacement would come around. We can recommend somebody from this board to take that spot, but it will have to be approved at the county commission level. And because of the way that it's written, the Home Rule Act doesn't apply, so all the townships are out. If we don't appoint somebody to take that spot, there's a chance that the county would either remove us permanently from that spot and never allow it, or the unprecedented move of putting somebody from the village of Chatham on, because they are a chartered home rule municipality as well, but that has never happened before in Alger County to put them on there. They have a couple of people that would be qualified, Whitmarsh, Rushford, both would be good additions, if somebody here didn't want it, of course. But it is gonna get kind of wonky, potentially, if we don't get somebody.
It really is. The meeting's scheduled, they're at 3 o'clock in the afternoon in Escanaba. And it's just,
No remote option?
So they tried doing it remotely, but everybody wanted to do remote and it was too crazy because there's 36 members on that board. Because you get
36?
it's very cumbersome.
It's a county representative, a municipal representative, and a private business representative. And then there's additional representatives from QPAD and specific stakeholders like trash haulers and stuff like that, a couple road commissions as well. And then it's also, as far as Dickinson, Menominee County, it's pretty wide.
Does the appointment have to be an elected official?
I believe so.
I think it does. That's why, because I started out and But, yeah, then it was quite cumbersome. They've not really had, or have they had a lot of meetings in the recent past? When I was doing it, they kept having to cancel them.
Yeah, so with the warmer weather it helped, and then the last meeting was actually moved because they went to the Recycle 906 facility in Sands Township, Marquette County, to actually see it all. They've had better luck, but there's been a rash of resignations because they just can't make that time.
Well, I don't know if we're gonna be appointing somebody tonight, but we can definitely,
I will consider it.
Would you?
But no, I won't, I have to consider it.
Okay.
If they don't have a remote option, it's like 3-4 hours of personal time every
Yeah.
time I have to do it.
okay. Would somebody like to make a motion to accept Bryce's resignation?
I'll make a motion to accept the resignation.
Support.
Okay. And then just noted that you may consider it?
Yeah, let me look at it.
Okay.
I frequently have business in Escanaba,
Oh, okay.
and if I can schedule those meetings on the days it coincides, then I would be willing to do it.
Thanks, Rob.
How often do they meet?
It's once a month, it's it's either the third or fourth Thursday of the month. And all due respect to Commissioner Desjardins, Commissioner Wilkinson's interest in blight-related issues and how trash gets picked up seemed to be a nice fit for the inner workings of what they've been discussing, so.
Arm wrestle before it, but.
The other option is too, is that
Solar arm here.
when we did this stuff initially, I was the alternate, and then we never appointed another alternate. So like, it could just be who's the primary, and, you know, through your powers combined, we keep the seat.
So, something to think about.
Right.
So I have a motion on the table, Commissioner Prunick made the motion to accept Bryce Bridges' resignation. Seconded, who supported it? Supported by Commissioner Desjardins. Any more discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. Okay, Cleveland Engineering Company Munising TMF grant pay request for $6,699.75.
I move we authorize a pay request for $6,695.06.
I'll second.
Okay, moved by Commissioner Desjardins, seconded by, or supported by Commissioner Wilkinson to approve the Coleman Engineering Company Munising pay request for $6,699.75. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item 5, okay. Accept or approve the interim manager support services with Ray Anderson. What do you guys think?
He's got the experience, he's available and willing. It's gonna be expensive,
Very.
I think that we need to
but
have
at the
some.
same time, we're not paying a full-time manager.
But, no, I think $100, $400 round trip for travel, 1 day a week is a little excessive. Did the mileage, you know, it comes out to less than 300.
He wants to charge us travel time.
So, but is, okay, so he's charging us time, but not mileage.
Right. Mileage here to Iron Mountain is what?
Well, it was 105 miles to Norway from here.
So that's 210, that's 70 cents a mile, it's about $160.
I got
170 bucks.
294.
294?
Yep.
Is he gonna come up here twice a week?
We don't know.
2 to 3 days.
At that point, it might be just cheaper to put them in a hotel and do an overnight.
So the travel time is
I think
is
he's-
weekly.
What did I do? I did it 105 miles to it came out to $74 times 4. 4 hours is what I did it at. I believe he's got, does he have something here? Does he have was Devin telling me that? That he had a camper, or am I confusing that with something else? But it's something, I mean, that Devin, when I was talking to him too, and I don't know if this bears on this or not, but you know, between fringe and, what is it, insurance and, well, it pays our 401K, but the, retirement, it's close to $3,000 a month. But this would come out to about 30 grand for, if we were to.
30,000 for how long?
6 months? Is that
8
what we
weeks?
did? Not 6 months.
So we're talking about $30,000 for how long?
That's what I can't remember how I
I
did
think it was
that.
4 months originally.
4 months,
Okay, so
okay.
$30,000, it's equivalent to paying a city manager
$120,000.
$120,000 a year, which is the ballpark for our city manager. I think it's reasonable. It's steep, but it's reasonable. The last time we had an interim manager was Judy Stanley, 14 years ago. She charged us $50 an hour as a courtesy to the city because she was the former manager and she lived in Chatham at the time.
So, if we're thinking of moving forward, then kind of start date.
That's a question. You have to verify that with him.
Okay.
And the travel, can we verify if he's willing to come for 2 days in a row or 3 days in a row? It would certainly be cheaper to put him up in a hotel.
Yeah?
It
Yeah.
sounds like it was 2 days according to this. Devin told me 1 day in office.
And then the rest remote?
So he's gonna work remote for, if he's gonna be here for 8 hours, so he's gonna work remote for 8 to 16 hours at $100?
That is what Devin had explained to me last time I had a discussion with him about it, trying to figure out the mileage and everything, how many days he'd be coming. And that's the last I heard of it from Devin. 4 hours seems like maybe it's 2 days a week.
Mm-hmm.
4
Yeah,
hours of
that's
travel
what-
time.
Well, no,
No,
4 hours would be
2
one
hours
day.
here,
Yeah,
2
2
hours
hours, yeah, that would be one day.
So,
But it would be.
So it's gonna be so it's gonna be 800 a week
So-
if he comes up here twice, 800 for travel,
yes,
plus $100 an hour.
yes.
So, no, these are relevant questions. I don't want to, I have other questions that are related to this. I just didn't want to jump ahead before we were done with the math side of things. So, the other thing too is that in this letter that he says it's from 4 to 8 weeks. And so, how does that fit into our managerial search? How, if we need to either extend or end early based on finding somebody, how do we do that? It doesn't really seem like there's a mechanism in the paperwork that's been provided.
That's true.
Is that a question for us here as staff?
That is a question whoever's got the answer.
I believe the charter reads that we have to appoint someone as a city
Within
manager
30 days.
No, 6
within
months.
6 months. You can have an acting city manager in the meantime, but and I can go pull the charter and read it verbatim if you want me to, but I believe it says appointed within 6 months. I don't think that this would restart that timeline, unfortunately.
We need to clarify that. I
That would
seem
be
to
a-
recall that
A question
we
for
have 30
Norby.
days to appoint an acting city manager.
Yeah, well, there was that aspect, and I respect that, but that doesn't necessarily answer where I was going at, which is if we take this proposal and then we hire a city manager and like, let's say that it's, 11 weeks and it's still within those guidelines, how do we, terminate the services, or if we need to extend it past the 4 to 8 weeks that are specified in here? Because we could have it where there could be a pay rate or a change or something if we needed to extend that. I don't necessarily feel comfortable with that. I would rather see this locked in for the duration of the services used instead of having it flex after a month and a half.
We don't know what that's gonna be. but-
And it looks like they're going to invoice us. This back, it says invoice on a bi-weekly basis for hours and expenses performed.
It could take,
So
it
there's some
could take a
equivalent
month to
using it.
find a city manager that we agree on, and then it would take a month for that person to actually come. I think what we can control the cost by hiring him 1 month at a time,
Oh, that,
You know, and explain to him, and you're gonna have to have a conversation with him about this. Explain to him that we have no real good idea how long it will take to find a permanent replacement for Devin. Would he be willing to contract 1 month at a time? And we need to clarify the travel. You know, if he needs to go to a city commission meeting, and that's all he's gonna do, is come up here to go to a city commission meeting,
yeah, no, that's kind of was my question as well, just with this travel, because he's not, I mean, he's not working when he's traveling necessarily.
Yeah. I mean, just to circle back in a positive way, I don't think we're saying no to the guy. I think it's all about this new process of locking things down in a responsible way.
Well, if you guys, I mean, I'm assuming I would be talking to him.
I'm assuming you would be too.
And so, I mean.
You would need to clarify the
any
travel,
questions? Yep.
whether or not he is willing to spend a night here and do 2 days back to back. How much of his time does he anticipate being in person and how much remotely? I mean, he can do a lot remotely, but a lot of it has to be here in the office to deal with people.
Well, and this really, this proposal acceptance and notice to proceed, the proposal is very ambiguous to me. You know, so, I mean, is this the binding contract?
Apparently.
Well, with changes.
Yeah, you should talk to Bill too.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
What did you say?
With changes,
Yeah.
I mean, with what you were just talking about as far as making sure that everything is
I mean, it looks
setting.
fairly boilerplate compared to the rest of the proposal, so like, I mean, I'm not really, you know, obviously we want more answers, but
Well,
the proposal doesn't seem too bad.
if you guys wouldn't mind, take the weekend, and if you think of any other questions, then I'll contact him next week.
I like that, just to make a motion to give that a mechanism for possibility, I make the motion that we table the acceptance and approval of interim management support services to allow the mayor to engage in questions.
So I would support a motion to table the item and authorize the mayor to negotiate more specific terms. Is anything gonna blow up between here and 2 weeks?
I mean,
That's fine.
we had a light pole.
I think that we could probably get more information once we get done with talking with staff about moving forward here too, because like, I mean, I'm not against that idea, I just kind of wanted to have that other discussion first, to know what our staff's needs are
Right.
before we go about it, so. We could also just take a small step on 5, go and talk with 5A, and then come back and make a formal motion on 5.
Well, you've got a motion on the table.
We have 2 motions on the table.
Yeah, wait a minute.
You have a
So-
motion to table on the floor
So, all
and
right.
authorize the mayor to contact him
Table this.
and clarify terms. I would support that motion.
Is that
You
relevant?
made it, didn't you?
No, well,
I was gonna
Bryce
say.
did make,
I'll just, I'll support, I guess. I think it's just, I would take that as a friendly amendment, just for clarification purposes.
Okay. all right, let me see if I got
I
this.
got it.
Again, okay.
I got it.
If you have it.
Like you do.
All right, so it's moved
I'll
by
call you
Commissioner
tomorrow,
Discard,
maybe.
is supported by Commissioner.
Let me know what's going on.
Bird.
That way.
Okay, to table, this, agenda item and authorize the mayor to, have a conversation, a contact Ray Anderson,
Clarify contracts.
to clarify the contract. And like I said, if you guys have any other things that you're thinking of, just send it to me.
Discussion?
Discussion?
I would recommend you include the city attorney in that conversation.
And recommend, if you'd add that.
That's just a recommendation,
No,
separate from the motion.
So, okay, it's still a good recommendation.
It's noted.
All right. Any more discussion?
labor subcommittee relevant in this or no?
I don't know.
Well, that would be,
Just, I mean, if you need backup, you got Jordan, I think
Yep.
it would probably be the best case scenario.
Yeah.
So,
So,
I would recommend that you include Jordan in that conversation too.
okay. So,
That's separate from the motion.
okay.
You're the mayor.
I'm learning. All right, any more discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that motion carries. All right, 5A, how do I say it, offer up guidance for staff on moving forward while we're in this interim phase. Mary and Kristen were both, wondering where their powers start and stop, what they can sign, what they can't sign, So we need to kind of offer them some guidance moving forward. What their limits are as far as what they can sign, or any staff, I guess.
Yeah,
You
so
guys are-
there's a concern on, first and foremost, I think the big one that's gonna come up over the course of the summer is gonna be spending limits, as far as who is authorized to spend what on the city's behalf. Otherwise, everything over $500, I believe, is the supervisor's.
Yeah, that's our limit.
Yeah, so the supervisor's limit is 500, so
What
anything
is the
over
city
that-
manager's 2,000?
5,000.
5,000, you increase that?
But in the absence of
The
the
city
city manager
manager.
at the time, where do we go from there?
How often does this decision come up a day?
Weekly. I would
Weekly?
say a couple times a week. I mean,
Yeah.
for instance, like, our DPW supervisor came to us and wants to order more gravel. It's gonna be a large sum.
Right,
He wants to order it, we need to get it moving for these road projects, but
okay.
who,
We-
Yeah.
Yeah, executive
Who's in charge of
decision-making
that?
authority.
yeah,
The city commission can meet on 18 hours notice. And if there's anything more timely than that, we need to designate somebody as
Yes,
an
we
acting.
have no emergency purchasing power at the moment either. Devin was the one that handled that when, I believe the BOD was an emergency purchase, and things like that. Otherwise, everything over $500 has to come to you guys before we can purchase it.
Is this what Sue said last meeting she's not gonna be responsible for?
Yes.
yeah.
We put her in that bag before.
Right, that was my question, so.
Excuse me.
And that's
Is
part
that
of why
something
we're
we can do by
modeling.
email?
Say that again?
No,
That's something-
no
I'm sorry,
decision
what'd you
should be
say?
made via email.
And that's
I'm
part
not
of what
sure
we're
that we
modeling
can
right now.
designate any one of us with emergency executive power.
But we can designate,
You can designate, I think you could designate somebody else, whether you increase the supervisor's limits or you pick somebody at City Hall, or if you give the mayor authority.
I don't know that we
to-
can give the mayor authority, that's the question.
Yeah.
Else I would
Or
do
I-
that.
I'm not
Just
sure.
because she's the right person for the job.
yeah.
All right, so real fast, just kind of going back to what you're dealing with here. I mean, obviously, if we have an interim city manager, this goes away.
Yes.
So we're looking for just the hot button issues. Is there, talking within your guys' own aspect, is this limited to city hall or is this every single department?
This is all departments.
So with it being all departments, is there any way to divide this up by job description or department that would allow us to say like, all right, if this is
No,
your
you don't wanna-
department?
Yeah, I don't
that
think
it's
you
a
wanna
little
start doing that.
cumbersome, that might,
I think the easiest course of action would be to designate somebody at City Hall for a limited time, being in the absence of a city manager. That way you're not increasing individual spending limits and then taking away.
Okay, let me pose this question to both of you. Emergency executive power, and I would say emergency in loose, decision has to be made that day before we can assemble the city commission. How many decisions, non-financial decisions, have to be made?
Depends on the week.
It's really, and I guess that's what we're struggling with right now, so we're all kind of jumping in right now and we are powwowing and deciding how to handle something, but we're all a little bit uncomfortable with the position of are
Who
we
makes the final
allowed to
call?
decide this? Like, you know,
Do
we're
we
doing
have the
it, but,
authority?
are we allowed to even be doing this? Like, and that's where, you know, we would have referred to Devin
We'll-
previously.
Yeah, we'll designate it, say for instance, we designated the city treasurer, gave her temporary authorization to approve spending up to $5,000. Would that solve the problem?
It's some of them,
That solves the spending problems, as far as like
spending.
travel and stuff like that.
Yeah, it
And
solves
it
that.
would-
But would that solve the problem up to 18 hours?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
but
so-
also, you guys have to think about the other aspect of that is whether or not you guys can all make quorum within 18 hours.
Sure.
Yeah, we can get a
And if
quorum.
you wanna have meetings for everything over $500, 501.
No.
No.
You know, it's more of a
No.
convenience thing, it's not necessarily the emergency, like, true emergency aspect of it, we'll figure that one out. But
It's
it's
just like the everyday.
How,
the everyday, if a lawnmower breaks and the repair is gonna cost more than $500.
Right.
Well, even
Okay,
if we, even if we, put some kind of dual control on it as well, so that, you know, it just mitigates the risk a little bit.
Yeah.
But I think to Rod's point, can we designate the treasurer up to a certain amount to do that? And then anything over that certain amount,
that's the.
I guess that's my point, that, you know, if we say up to $3,000 or $5,000, let's pick a number.
I see.
And then anything over that, is there, what are the chances of something coming up that is gonna take, it's got it handled right now or within 18 hours?
No, I think $5,000, if we're able to give the authority to the treasurer,
I agree.
I'd say $5,000.
$5,000 would pretty much be exactly how it was before with Devin's limit
Right.
being 5,000.
So anything
That invoice
over
for
that,
Coleman still would've
We'd have
come
to have a
in.
meeting,
Which we would do anyway.
which we would do anyway,
So
right?
we're just giving, we would be authorizing the treasurer that power temporarily.
Are you comfortable with that, Kirsten?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
Okay.
So financially,
I guess.
if we authorize you, give you temporary authorization,
Yeah, I think the key is the temporary, at
Temporary.
least
Sure.
in my position.
Okay.
and that will address the financial needs. And if any non-financial decisions have to be made, you're just gonna have to wait for the commission. I would keep in very close contact with all of our engineers, Ron, and make sure that they don't have any emergency decisions that need to be made.
Yeah.
I would move that we authorize the city treasurer to approve purchases up to $5,000
Yeah.
through the end of July.
I'll second that.
Okay.
Would you be up for a friendly amendment on that a little bit in discussion?
Sure.
I like the idea more of making the temporary aspect upon the hiring of an interim city manager. The reason why is because if they're asking about the temporary status of it, I mean, the date, I mean, we're just gonna be going right back into a 7-day or it'd be a 6-day window based on the calendar, where if we don't have an interim in place, then we don't have it set up. So it would be better to have it upon the hiring of the city manager and their, or
The
the
interim?
interim city manager.
I will amend my motion to make a contingent upon it, the hiring, or the contracting of an acting city manager. That's a good point, Bruce.
Okay, and do you still support that, Bob?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank
Moved by, I'm sorry, moved by Commissioner DeSardes, supported by Commissioner Wilkinson to authorize the city treasurer to approve purchases up to $5,000 through, or upon, I guess, that power to be terminated upon the hiring or contracting of the interim city manager.
Yes.
Any more discussion?
That's good.
Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion is carried. Careful what you wish for.
I have a tremendous amount of faith in you guys.
Yep.
Yes.
Oh gosh, yes, you guys are hugely capable.
We're still on this topic, right? Still on 5A, that didn't like.
Yeah, okay, yep, you've got,
Okay.
there's more.
There is more. Payroll, who would, like, signing of daily things in the background, requisitions, payroll stubs, things like that. We We have check signers, so we are A-okay there. It's the things that the city manager would sign,
Authorizations.
authorizing payroll.
Personnel,
ACH is
personnel and
in
things
there.
like that,
Personnel
yeah.
things.
Is that just payroll?
Payroll, it's gonna be any requisition that Mary does, any requisition that I do or Jaden, any requisitions
Yeah,
for spending.
purchases.
I think I would be able to sign those within that $5,000 limit at this point. But it's also, I had UPEA reach out and say, hey, we want to do the reimbursement request for the boat launch grant. Can you sign this? Well, do I have authority to sign it?
The request that has to be approved by the commission?
It's a reimbursement request, it's not a payment request. It is for the grant that we are receiving. It has to be certified by a
Can it wait
staff
18
member.
hours?
Yeah, it's gonna have
Do you
to.
want to take on that responsibility too?
But I-
my opinion
it's things like-
is that's
things like that.
waitable. My opinion, that's waitable for 18 hours or 2
And
days
that
or
is, if
whatever.
that's what you guys wanna do, that's fine, it's just we need guidance on what you guys want. These agendas are gonna get quite long, I'm gonna be
Yes, it
completely
is.
frank with you.
Yep.
But if
Like I
that's what
said,
you want,
just-
that's how we'll move
You
forward.
just
with
reach out
this.
to our engineers and our contractors and explain that we are acting without a chief executive for a short time, and they need to be as preemptive as possible and proactive as possible to give us time.
Yeah, that's fine, I just, like I said, we just need guidance on what you
Okay,
guys wanna see.
So we'll have you, like you said, reach out and wait the 18 hours and we'll just have to get an emergency meeting.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else?
Like I said, I have a lot of faith to
I
do
mean, I
that.
have just chain of command, but it's just for any other, I guess, decisions, we'll just wait.
If you guys
guys
get,
can do it.
you know, I'm gonna put this on your shoulders, if you guys feel overwhelmed and don't feel comfortable making a decision, reach out to the mayor. She can call a special meeting in 18 hours, and we can delay
It's
it.
easy, yeah.
Yeah, that's
The
fine.
clerk can
Like
call
I
a
said.
special meeting in 18 hours as well if it's something election related or something.
No, that's fine, I
interesting.
just know we didn't want to
Thankfully,
start
there's no
doing a
August.
bunch of special meetings, you
Yeah.
guys didn't want,
No.
didn't want that.
But,
We'll meet every day if we have
Yep.
to.
Okay.
No, I'd prefer not to.
Do our best.
We didn't have it.
Moving on now. All right, item 6, permission for
Good.
removing Devin Olson from the
Wait.
city bank
What?
account. No,
I
I
got
missed
crossed.
it.
Yeah, we got cross first.
So,
I went to 8.
oh,
Yeah,
yeah, so
what?
if you look at ours, we
You're in a
have
hurry.
Cross general contractor
Oh.
ones.
No tourist park after.
My agenda is wonky.
Mine's too.
Yeah, so actually.
I'm really confused too, it's okay.
So,
Um,
we're at 8, 9, 6, and 7, and then.
Mine's wrong
those
too.
are
So
easy.
this is 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, here we go. I'm like, what are you talking about? Okay, item 6, cross general contracting pay request number 5 for tourist park bathroom renovations for $19,512.
I'll make a motion to approve the payment to Cross for $19,512.
Okay, request number 5.
Yeah, pay request number 5. I was, need to look here, not here.
I'll support it.
Okay, it's been moved by Commissioner Wilkinson, supported by Commissioner Prunick to approve the pay request number 5 for the tourist park bathroom building renovations in the amount of $19,512. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Item number 7, cross general contracting final pay request number 6 for tourist park bathroom buildings and renovations in the amount of $11,265.20.
I move we approve final pay request number 6 in the amount of $11,265.20.
I'll support.
Cross.
All right, moved by Commissioner Justardens, supported by Commissioner Wilkinson to approve final pay request number 6 for the tourist park bathroom building renovations in the amount of $11,265.20. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. Okay, now I get to go to 8. Permission for removing Devin Olson from city bank accounts at People's State Bank.
This is a formality, they need a motion.
It's gotta be in the minutes to
the
take it to the,
minutes.
yeah,
I'll make-
he needs it.
I'll make a motion we remove Devin Olson from the city bank account of Embers Credit Union and
Well, no,
People's State Bank?
They're separate.
Yeah, they're separate.
Is this a roll call? Or?
It's not a resolution.
What?
No,
They
it's
just
just,
need a motion in the
We
minutes.
had to jump.
it's, yep, that, any
That's
organization, they all, we require it.
For
I'll
some reason, I
support
thought it was
the
different for-
What's that?
I'll support the PSB.
Okay, moved by Commissioner Wilkinson, supported by Commissioner Prunick, to remove Devin Olson from the bank accounts at People's State Bank. All those in favor? Any opposed? That motion carries. Okay, Bob, there you go. Permission for removing Devin Olson from city bank accounts
I'll
at
make
Embers.
a motion, we remove Devin from the Embers Credit Union account.
Support.
Moved by Commissioner Wilkinson, supported by Commissioner Justardens, to remove Devin Olson from the city bank accounts at Embers Credit Union. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carried. It's official. All right, Elcom quote for upfitting new police Tahoe for $17,481.31. This is replacing, we approved a quote back in 2002.
From Procom,
Yep, and the original quote was for, I believe, a 2022 vehicle?
2023,
2023 vehicle, and now we're upgrading to a 2025.
and changing company.
And the beauty is they can pick it up in St. Ignace and take it to Marquette instead of, I guess Procom is downstate somewhere.
Oh,
Yep, so Elcom is over in Marquette, so it's a pretty sweet little deal.
Single source. But I think it can
So-
be, I think it falls under professional services.
So I don't see the attached invoices.
Just,
We got the Elcom one.
Yeah.
We don't have the original one.
no. That was, yeah, the original one we approved back in 2023.
Right, so I guess, I'm not opposed to the idea, I'm just curious of whether or not this procedure violates the bidding process. Because if we're changing it from a previous one, we didn't get an active bid from Procom, or a reason why we didn't get a bid from Procom, just that it was straight up from the closer one. I wanna make sure that we're not violating a contractual issue or opening up something legality.
Did this get canceled, and that's why we're doing it? Say that again?
This is not the one that was canceled.
Okay, that's the other two trucks.
My
Excuse me.
understanding, and it's very limited on this one because this was kind of new coming to me, was that it was going to be a much faster upfitting.
Okay,
to-
that's not
to
the
go
point, though. The
through-
point is that we approved the bid from Procom, did we award them a contract?
I'm not sure if it was a bidding process or if it was part of the mine.
Or sole source? Either way, did we award them a contract?
I only have in my possession a quote, an estimate.
Okay.
I don't have anything that I know of that was signed. Can you think of anything, Mary? We
I
can
was-
do more research on it.
Yeah, I was
Is
given
it-
the invoice and told to pay it, to which I said, I don't know that we can because it's not from the original bidder, so that's why we're revisiting it at
You have the invoice already?
the part
Yes,
of the
we-
Elcom, yes.
Yes.
They've ordered the parts, they haven't done any of the services, but because they've ordered the parts and they're sitting on the parts, they would like payment.
So why did it switch already? If this is an issue, like who authorized it to be switched already?
We were told that it was Devin. We, again, like I said, the first time that I became aware of it was when I received the invoice.
Chief should have been on top of this.
So, yeah, I'm not comfortable with that at all. I think this is a really good time to work on the form of, hey, we're dealing with an interim manager situation here, and we just need to review this a little bit more. And because of that, I would make the motion that we table item number 10 until more information is available.
I'll support that because I hesitate to approve payment before we even award them the contract.
Could I ask you to authorize someone to get more information regarding this and present it to you? I know we have two invoices, one from Motorola and one from Alcom
Yeah.
at this time.
The chief. Is this the chief's buzz? This is the chief.
I agree with that.
We need to know, did we
No.
sign a contract
Yeah,
with
sure.
Procom? And then we need to know, when is this, he plan on having this done? How timely is this?
When's the deliverable?
Do you want that built into the motion?
I don't think it hurts, I just.
Is there a contract with Alcon?
We haven't
No,
awarded
this-
them the bid.
yeah. This is the.
I know for a fact we don't have a contract with Alcom regarding this. Procom, I am a little unsure of, I know that the dollar amount of $78,000 for the vehicle was approved, and these were both the purchase of the vehicle and the upfitting was approved at the same time. I don't remember off the top of my head if it was a bid process or if it was part of the MyDeal sole source.
Okay, so
Oh, I
Probably
think it
kind
is
of a
my
MyDeal
deal. It's the
source.
my deal source. Yeah.
I believe that, and the sole source
Yeah.
doesn't issue, doesn't bother me. It was dated March 19th. The quote is dated March 19th, and it's valid for 30 days.
So it's not even valid.
I received this on Friday.
We need to clarify that too.
Who did you receive it from? Alcom?
When I brought this to Devin's attention before he left, as it was brought to me by Mary, I then asked for a total estimate, because the invoice we have from Elcom is for $7,000, and we have one for Motorola for $6,000 change.
$6,400.
Both are over the spending limit of the city manager, and I wanted to know what the comparables were between Alcom and Procom, whether we were ordering the same parts. And I asked for an estimate, and he said, oh, I can have John get that to you, and then he printed it off. So I don't know if he received it from John, or if he had it.
So this is.
This is new
rather than a-
information for us.
Okay, this document here, rather than being a quote, and it is a quote, we're being asked to approve an invoice.
You would have to approve the quote before we could even bring the invoice to you to be.
That's what-
There's no authorization to order, from what I understand.
But
Am I
they've
correct
already
in
ordered-
stating
But they've
that?
already ordered stuff? Or
My
so they said
understanding
send
is
an
there is no
invoice?
authorization to order at this time from this company.
Which is why we brought it back to the commission.
Right. Because there's no contract.
Ultimately, the invoice is gonna have to come back to you, but there's no point in bringing you the invoice if you don't approve.
Oh,
From an accounts payable standpoint, when I look at the invoice that I got from Alcom, I can't look back at any meeting minutes and say, we approved Alcom purchase
Right.
of this amount, which is over the city manager's spending limit, which is
We-
why
Do we have the vehicle yet?
no.
no, it's
When-
Dunn's too.
I believe August,
Oh,
late
yeah, so we
August.
have time.
Yeah.
Okay,
And I personally would like to see an updated quote.
yes.
I
You can-
think if you guys are directing this chief of police to get more information, I think.
Mhm.
Yeah.
and
Especially an updated quote, because this one is out of date.
Right.
I don't know if it's any good, we can't act on it if we don't know if it's valid.
So what would your motion?
I move we table this until we get an updated quote.
Would make a motion to recommend to the chief of police more information, or?
Well, that's kind of where we're at, because the initial motion that I made was about tabling it until more information could be
Yes.
obtained, but
Okay,
it was
yeah.
very broad about who was actually
Who it
getting
was,
the information.
what was
And then
wanted.
because of the lack of city manager, staff was asking for further information about who should be getting the information as a point of contact. It seems like, based on your depiction that you said about the conversation with Devin, that Chief Nelson has the most information about this.
I believe he would be the best person to be the point of contact regarding this, yes. I don't think it would hurt to specify what information you want, so that he can relay that to Alcom.
Yeah, do you want to modify your motion, Bryce?
Yeah, I'm just thinking about the best way to do it. Because, I mean, obviously, until more information is gathered, spearheaded by Chief Nelson, I think would deal with it. I mean, we can always give him notes or send emails or something about what we're actually looking for, as well as you guys. because city staff needs to be able to ask these questions too.
Well, can't we just make the motion that we authorize Chief Nelson to get in touch with Elcom and have them update their quote to now instead of March 19th?
I mean, that,
Update the quote so we have something, the quote's good for 30 days. I mean, as you said, Chief Nelson's got the.
I agree with that, but I think we're not just talking about the quote. The quote's one aspect of multiple aspects of information that we need, including what was the contract base, is this an ideal? How does this overlap with our purchase history? Was it a bid and the bidding procedure lined up? There's a lot of points of question. I don't think that they all need to be itemized in the motion, but puts a video up and he can listen to this and hear our discussion.
Do we need
So-
both bids, or is it not?
Part of
We
the.
don't because it was already approved?
I think a way to maybe navigate this, rather than itemizing, we could say, have Chief Nelson be in charge of contacting the mayor and get an itemized, have those two be in contact regarding what the commission wants to see.
If I may, right now what I have noted is we're tabling, the motion is table until more info is available from the chief of police regarding if we did or did not sign a contract with Procom and an updated quote from Elcom.
That
Good
works
place
for
to
me.
start.
Yep,
Yeah.
I'll support that.
I'll second.
okay.
Or, no, you're going third.
I'll third, I don't care,
Right, so
whatever.
you're okay with the
God,
first?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's your motion?
Yeah.
Okay. Moved by Commissioner Burge, supported by Commissioner Justardens, I'm not gonna have you read it.
Okay.
What she said.
Yeah, so, any more discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion is carried. We're getting there, guys. All right. Item number 11, we are talking about purchase of the DPW trucks. We'll start with the Summit White. So these were the vehicles that were on order and then they were canceled? And
So originally, we had ordered two,
Blue.
same dealer, same price breakdown, essentially. We wanted blue. They decided they no longer make blue, they canceled our order. Albert Lee then went out on, Devin asked Albert Lee to look for other vehicles that meet our specs to replace what we had ordered. These ones are already built.
It's a buy deal.
It's a my deal.
Okay. So my only
This-
question is how come they're different prices?
Different colors.
It's a trim package.
There's one option that's in one of them that's not in the other, that has no impact on city function.
Okay.
These are already built, we could get them as early as next week. If you guys approve these tonight, I have been in contact with Albert Lee and he is awaiting notification as to what you guys decide you wanna do. Both of these are underneath the original price that we had budgeted, so yay. I'm excited about that, and I think the guys are highly
Yeah, I see what they're
anticipating these
driving
trucks
these,
that
yeah.
have been on order
All right.
for multiple years.
Okay.
They're just not blue, they're not gonna match the rest of the vehicles.
That's
We
okay.
do have decals already, so.
$400 for catching up. I'll say that louder, $400 for catching up to where we were.
And these
This
are
is
2025s,
within-
not 2023s. So they're newer.
So, if it fits all the requested spec packages, then I think we're doing good.
And both Jaden and Devin looked at the specs.
Can we approve them together? You want them separate?
I would like
separate
them
items.
separate.
All right, I move we authorize purchase of the Summit White 2025 GMC Sierra 1500 four-wheel drive regular cab 140-inch Pro.
I'll support.
Okay, it's been
It's a long
moved by,
one.
it's been moved by Commissioner Justardens, supported by Commissioner Klinick to approve the Summit White 2025 GMC Sierra
Can you authorize
1500.
someone to sign it?
and authorize the city treasurer to sign on behalf of the city. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? That motion carries. Okay. Same thing for these treasurers? So I just need a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the purchase of the 2025 GMC Sierra.
I appreciate that.
50 long bikes.
I support.
All right, moved by Commissioner Brunig, supported by Commissioner Burge to approve the purchase of the Sterling Metal 2025 GMC Sierra 1500 and authorize the city treasurer to sign on behalf of the city. I'm just gonna go for it. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion carried. Public comment?
I have one, I'll make it really quick. Tennis court, I realized that we hadn't done it yet. I have since been in contact with the Tennis Courts Unlimited person in charge, right? They were hoping to have it done by the 14th. Unfortunately, weather
Resurfacing?
permitting, yes, resurfacing of the tennis courts. Weather permitting circumstances, it's more looking like the 14th through the 21st of this month would be a more realistic timeline. Like I said, I have been in contact with them, he has my contact information if anything changes.
Thanks, Kristen.
Do we know how long Cemetery Hill is gonna be down?
It's not just our project, it's also county.
It's
owned.
county.
Yeah,
And-
so,
And township.
yeah.
We just, it's another one that we just have a small portion on.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so, got your minutes?
And then, are you good? Okay, point of information just for everybody, at both the ZBA meeting and at the planning commission meeting last week, both of those boards dealt with issues about mail notification systems, which makes 3 separate departments within a month that has come up. Again, I know that that's a policy that we said that we would go with, but I just wanted to make sure that everybody knew about that because they were all from different public meetings that we got brought up, so.
All right, anything else?
Make a motion to adjourn?
Moved by Commissioner Wilkinson, supported by Commissioner Prunick to adjourn. All in favor?
Aye.
We are adjourned.